Welcome to the Practical Animal channel, coming to you today from Hadrian's Wall in the north of England. And as you can tell from the way I'm dressed with 5 layers, it's midsummer here in the UK. But enough about history. We're here to talk about natural history and the unnatural history of the Harris's hawk. My next guest talks about his Harris's hawk, Woody. Harris's hawks are native to the United States of America, the southern US, and their natural range begins just over that hill, about 3,000 miles away. My next guest is on YouTube under the moniker of Freebird of Reason, and I began by asking Peter what he could tell us about his Harris's hawk. Enjoy the interview.
This is a Harris hawk. His name is Woody, and the Harris hawks come from Southwest America, Chile, Mexico, but this one is captive bred. I got him in the UK and he was hatched on the 10th of May 2 years ago now, so he's still relatively young. He's a Harris hawk now, but they used to be called bay-winged hawks.
What motivated you to get into falconry or hawking?
My father always encouraged me to have many animals, so I've always been interested in animals and hunting, because my late father used to take me hunting with him on Sundays with his shotgun, and I went along with that for sort of many years. But now, as I've got older, I find it very difficult, them sort of sports personally. Nothing against them, and I still will hunt if I'm eating the food. I got a great friend who lives down the road who's a falconer, and I've been out with him with peregrines, and it just grew into a passion. So I thought, right, okay, it's time now for me to get into some falconry and then decide which hawk or falcon do I want. So I done a lot of research, and in the end, it came out for me, Harris hawk.
Peter, it's often said that a Harris's hawk is a good beginner's bird. What do you make of that advice?
These Harris hawks, I don't think should be seen as a first bird or a stepping stone. We should get the full potential out of them. I mean, this hawk, he can wait on. So we've got fist waiting on, and then I can take him into the deepest forest and he'll follow on. So it's 3 disciplines in one.
How does the hawking year work? When does the season begin, end, and what do you do for the rest of the time?
The hunting season really sort of starts after he's finished molting, and it's generally about the end of August. We should be out just in the beginning of September, and the last day I fly is the 28th of February. So he's sort of got 6 months of flying, then he will start to molt. And the other reason we stop flying at that time is because everything's starting to have young. We take them out of the hunt and then put them into mulch, feed them lots and lots of good quality nutrition. So I feed this one pigeon, rat, chicken, quail, and pheasant, rabbit. Most of his food he will catch himself during the season.
How do your training methods differ from what might be called conventional wisdom, or there's dozens of falconry books out there nowadays? Do your methods differ from what's written in black and white?
I think I differ in the fact that if we go out hunting, he will never have a multiple kill. But Woody will catch one prey item, and then I feed him right up on that. on the spot, and then the next day I still fly him. And that probably is not quite normal because his weight can be up a couple of ounces on the next day. And I still fly him and he still follows on. And I'm sure that's because I do it 7 days a week.
Peter, what is your view of falconry and hawking as practiced in Britain today?
What I think is good about falconry now is the social media. Personally, I've met so many friends on YouTube, falconers from Italy, America, all over the place, and we send each other messages, and there's a connection which you wouldn't have had years ago, and tips come through, ideas, or so we share lots of things, and that in itself is a sort of a great teaching aid.
Peter, how do you see hawking and falconry changing in the UK over the next 10 years?
They're trying to make a total ban on tethering falcons and hawks in zoological collections I think by 2027. That worries me quite a bit. And tethering of hawks has been going on for 4,000 years. And it's part of the training. And a big part of manning is having your hawk on the lawn looking around.
Can you briefly explain manning, please?
Manning is anywhere where the hawk is in a man's environment. He's manning now. He's getting used to sitting on my fist in this room. This room is not normal for him. He's a little bit edgy. So what I do is I have a scale of 1 to 3. But at the moment, he's about 1 and 1.5. Okay, so he's not all in a rouse. He's sitting a little bit tight, but he's tolerating and he's okay. And then 2 might be where he's a bit more jittery, but I can push him through that. 3 would be no, stop. When I'm taking him through a process, like even my garden maintenance, I will watch this hawk, and if I see a 3, which is a stop, I will stop. So everything I do, he's in a man's environment, I have to think of this hawk. So I'm manning all the time. All the time I'm with this hawk, whether I'm in the garden or he's on my fist. I'm watching him, I'm reading him, and I'm manning him. So that manning process is just that, a hawk being in a man's environment. So manning never stops. It's 24 hours a day, whether he's in his mews, in his aviary, looking out at me, doing some garden work, I'll watch him. And I'll watch him from the scale of 1 to 3. And if it's a 3, stop. 2, go careful. 1 is happy. And that's just knowing the hawk.
What advice, Peter, can you offer somebody watching this who wants to take up falconry or hawking?
I think the most important thing is to find a falconer, a mature falconer that's been doing falconry for as long as possible is best. Then read as many books as you can on falconry or the particular hawk or falcon you would like to get. I don't like to see, as I've said, these used as a stepping stone to move on to a peregrine. I think if you want a peregrine, get a peregrine. But the other thing I would say is don't rush. If you're young, you've got plenty of time, but don't let time go by. But make sure that your job is secure, your family is grown up enough that you can dedicate 7 days a week to your hawk or falcon, because that's what it is.
Peter, is there anything that you'd like to add?
I mean, falconry is always linked with sort of conservation. And so what I'd like to say is, if anyone's got children or grandchildren, take them out into the country, pair of binoculars, just go looking. instead of what we do now on PlayStations and iPads, take them out to the country, go for a walk and look, just see what you can see. Look up and have a look what birds you can see. Learn the names of the birds. It's all free. Doesn't cost us anything, and it's there. And that's another great thing about falconry is when I'm out, I've seen some wonderful things, and it's because I'm out more. There's so much in the countryside we should be looking at, and some children don't even know what a toad or a frog is, the difference, or a tadpole. So that's my sort of advice. It's more on conservation, but the children are our future for conservation. If they don't know what anything is, then we haven't got a chance.
That's one of the things that I like about falconry, hawking, and on a wider scale, hunting. It's because of the skills that it teaches us. Falconry and hawking is one of the few ways we can have an interaction, a relationship with another animal that gets us out into the ecosystem, into the habitat, interacting with the quarry species. Peter, you're obviously completely dedicated, passionate about what you do, committed to Woody the Harris's hawk's welfare and bringing him out in his full potential. Peter Saunders, Free Bird of Reason on YouTube. Thank you very much for being on the Practical Animal Channel.
And thank you very much for inviting me on the Practical Animal Channel. I really appreciate it.